And He's using me, and I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just saying, okay, Lord, here I am. Use me. And He is.
I was surfing the web one day, just trying to find some parts to bolt onto this thing, and I had the TV in my ear, and they had mentioned Hurricane Ike in Texas, and how it wasn't going so well. FEMA wasn't doing what they thought they should be doing, or what the public thought they should be doing. And I had the internet at my fingertips, so I didn't type in Hurricane Ike. All I did was type in Ike. And the first thing I got was this horrifying picture of a cemetery that had been inundated, and all the coffins had floated to the surface. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, like, my God, and nobody's doing anything about this, you know.
And he kept looking through Texas, and I was like, what in the world are you doing? He said, I'm going to Texas. I was like, what do you mean you're going to Texas? I'm going to Texas. And I was like, no, I don't think so.
And it wasn't 10 days later. I had my excavator loaded on the trailer behind my truck, and I was headed for Texas. No rhyme or reason. I just got the call, and my wife looked at me like I was crazy.
I really didn't think it was real at first. I didn't really believe him. Like, you can't just get up and go to Texas. What are you thinking? He's like, I've got the equipment, I've got the know-how, you know, I've got the heart. I need to go there and help. These people need help. And so I really couldn't say anything. I really couldn't, like, complain or tell him he couldn't do it. He supported me in my ministry, so I really felt like I needed to support him, and so I have completely supported him in his ministry.
And I wanted to be baptized before I left. And I was warned, right after you get baptized, Satan is just going to absolutely attack you. And I said, nah, I got the Lord on my side. I'm good to go. And boy, I'll tell you what, they weren't lying. He attacked me all the way down. I had nothing but breakdowns and just angst and trouble. It was a 3.5-day 4 trip, just hard pulling. I was pulling a lot of weight, and everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but you know, I persevered the storm. The Lord was in the passenger seat, and away we went. We didn't stop. And I stayed there for a couple of months, you know, trying to figure out my game plan and trying to help people.
You know, we're both at the stage now where we just really want to work for the Lord. We know that He'll bless us. And
I've been to 6 different churches in the immediate area, and I'll probably go to 60 more before I'm done. As it works out for me, I try every Sabbath, if I'm not doing something for a church, to go to a new church, just to see who's who and what's what, and some of them are just a little spot in the road. My first experience wasn't good, because I pulled the address up off the internet and went there, and the church had been shut down because it got flooded. So the first Sabbath that I wanted to actually get involved, I couldn't.
If you're thinking that maybe you should be doing something and you're not, you know, just step out there in faith and trust God, and He will do it.
It was getting harder and harder and harder, almost to the break point of where I was ready to give up and come home.
He's been doing a lot of work to help people down there, clean up all the mess and help them get their lives back together again. I
went to a Baytown church, which is further up the coast, away from Galveston, and I told the pastor there that I was, you know, possibly looking for some shelter. Did anybody have a room to rent or whatnot? And this old boy, Bill Jones, stood up, and 81 years old, and he says, I have a 2-bedroom apartment. He said, I live in a Section 8 house or apartment. He says, it's not the greatest in the world, but I'll offer up that second room to you for nothing. And being in the position I was, I sure wasn't in any position to say no.
When you trust the Lord and you step out in faith, He'll use you. I mean, He's used me, He's using my husband, He's using my whole family.
You get a little less shy and a little bit better at it, I think, as you go along.
And if you can step out there and help one person, the Lord will bless you so much. He will.
While I was in Texas, I had the chance to witness to quite a few people. The fact that people knew I was a Christian when I was in Texas is what made them ask questions. And the Lord gave me the answers that they needed to hear to bring them a little closer, whether I brought them into the Seventh-day Adventist organization or at least just brought them to Christ. You know, the message was still given and received. One person in particular, a young man named Scott, was a day laborer. I used him on quite a few jobs, actually. Young man, single father. I used to keep the steps of Christ and my Bible on my dash of my truck all the time. And he kept asking questions and got more and more curious, and the Lord kept giving me the answers to give to him, because I'm not the most learned individual in the Bible, but I'm learning. So I got him kind of interested, and I ended up taking him to church. And it was a pretty cool situation because I was a stranger to that church also, but it was a very friendly church called Gulf Haven, and it was my favorite church in Houston. They just invited him with open arms. He went with me twice, and then after I returned back to Oregon, he's carrying on. So I just talked to him again the other day. I got his number, he's got mine, so communication's key, but it was pretty awesome. If I got one, you know, like I say, his mother was interested too, so I probably got two. I ended up not finishing what I wanted to down there. I was hammering on some concrete on a job site, and we'd worked late that night till about 8:30, and we came in at 6:45 in the morning, and the thieves had hit us and pretty much stole every tool we had on the job site, and pretty extravagant amount of money. Pretty much put me out of business. After the anger had cleared, we decided that we needed to pray for the thieves and forgive them, you know, because Satan's in their brain, and you know, we can't dwell on it. It's not going to do anything for us. You know, we just needed to carry on. So that's basically what we did. We closed it with a prayer, and the next morning we loaded the trucks, and I dropped him in Phoenix, and I rolled on home to Oregon. You know, it was time to come home. My family needed me for sure. I've been gone for several months, and I needed my family, not just my immediate family. I needed my church family, and so it's good to be back. You know, everybody needs a place to call home. Now that I'm home, I don't know what he has in store. I'm sure he's going to restore everything that was broken and lost and needs to be fixed, because that's what he does. We're not getting any further away from the goal. We're getting closer. So probably now's not the time to relax. Even in these hard times, you know, you still need to be out moving and shaking, and that's what we're doing. And, you know, it's an up and down hill. Sometimes things are hot, sometimes things are cold, and sometimes you can do something about it, sometimes you can't. And we don't know what he has in store for us, but whatever it is, we'll answer the call.
So I just want to encourage anybody out there, you know, you don't have to do something major. Just, you know, if the Lord's speaking to you, listen to your heart, listen to His voice, and do what He asks you to do, because He has a purpose for everyone, obviously.
Sometimes we don't know where we're going. When I went to Texas, I had no idea. Didn't even know what
me
part
either.
of Texas I was going, but I was going. And it was a total leap of faith, and you overcome a lot of fears. You travel with a lot of fears, but you got to step out and do something, because the time's coming. And you have to lead, you know. People need to be led sometimes, and so we do the best we can to be an example for people, and we challenge anybody out there to do the same thing and help your church grow, help your families grow.
If we can do it, anybody can do it, trust me. We were far from this, very far from this, you know. It was all about money before, and now it's about serving the Lord.